Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, May 3, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know that there's been like your ear recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have a trough right there to the east of the Caribbean, and to the north of that trough we have a high pressure ridge that's sending some amount of easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. Taking a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with that trough right there to the east of the Caribbean. We can also see that we have some amount of clouds that brought some amount of isolated showers to portions of the Windward Islands today, and we can see all of those clouds moving in an easterly to westerly fashion, all courtesy of that high pressure ridge's easterly trades. Let's focus our attention on what happened across Jamaica for today. We can see that we had quite the sunny day across the island. We didn't have much in the way of buildup of afternoon convection or any clouds across the island for today. However, in the evening hours we can see that we had more clouds coming in from the west southwest, and that's due to the fact that we have more activity taking place across portions of Central America, and all of those clouds are being streaked off from the southwest or the west southwest towards the northeast or the east northeast across the island. All of those high level or upper level clouds will be moistening the atmosphere across Jamaica. So it's not actually thunderstorms, it's just some high level clouds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and those clouds were responsible for the halo that we saw around the sun for today. So lots of moisture, lots of humid conditions also taking place at this time. So even if we look at the infrared satellite images, yes, we see those colors in there that indicate high cold cloud tops. So it's not any amount of thunderstorm or rain or anything like that. It's just some upper level clouds being streaked off in that wind shear. Taking a look at the temperatures for tonight, we can see that we have 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower as usual. Taking a look at the temperatures for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing 18Z on Thursday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we still have Jamaica being embedded in some amount of yellows, oranges, as well as some slight reds in there that indicate at least 1 to at least 3 degrees Celsius above average temperatures. And we have consensus or agreement on both maps, and we know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. So try to take necessary precautions so that you're not that drastically affected by the heat. You know, we're hot, stay out of the sunshine, try to stay hydrated as much as possible. Taking a look at the average temperatures for Jamaica for the month of May, we know that we usually receive up to 89 degrees Fahrenheit for this month across Jamaica, and that's the equivalent of about 32 degrees Celsius if we take a look at the thermometer. And considering that we'll be receiving 1 to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures for tomorrow, we should be expecting anywhere from, let's say, 32 to at least 35 degrees Celsius at most, anywhere between there. Alright, so taking a look at the dry air map for it, right now we can see that we have a lot of oranges across portions of Jamaica. If we take a look at the key at the bottom, the oranges represent some amount of dry air across the region. However, the driest air can be seen wherever we have the darkest reds and the whites within those reds. So right there off the coast of northern South America, not to mention portions of Africa, and especially across Africa, that's due to the fact that they have the Saharan dust that's affecting that region at this time. 2 p.m. on Thursday has majority of the Saharan dust affecting portions of the Windward Islands. Not so much across Jamaica. We're in the clear for 2 p.m. on Thursday. Taking a look at the wind forecast, the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that we have more blues, darker shades of blues with the lighter shades across western Jamaica, and that represents 1.5 meter wave height or less. And we see consensus, we see agreement on both the Euro and the GFS models. I know that when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher, and that's due to the fact that the winds will be coming in from the east, anywhere from 10 to 15 knots at most. However, where does all of that air pile up? Where do we see the darkest blues that indicate the least amount of wind? That's across portions of inland areas of some central parishes as well as portions of western Jamaica. So, considering that we have the piling up of air across those areas, the chances of some amount of buildup of clouds and afternoon convection are higher in those spots as well. And with the upper level support coming in from the southwest, with more of that southwesterly wind shear coming in, we might see, if we have that afternoon convection, we might see some of those upper level clouds being pushed off towards the northeast, just like what we saw just now. Even if we take a look at the map again, we can see something similar to what's going to happen tomorrow across portions of Cuba. So if we take a look across Cuba, we can see that yes, they indeed had some amount of thunderstorm convection burst right there across portions of northern Cuba, even eastern Cuba as well. So we might have some of that taking place across Jamaica for tomorrow. And considering that the clouds are the wind shears being pushed off, or pushing those clouds off to the northeast or the east northeast, the chances of the north coast getting in on that overcast sky and possible rainfall are much higher. Taking a look at the precipitation forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing that by 9 a.m. Jamaica time, we see some amount of blues that represent rainfall across sections of eastern Jamaica. So that represents Portland and St. Thomas. And we know that when we have consensus or agreement on both maps, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Taking a look at a couple of hours later, about 2 p.m., we see more blues setting up across portions of eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica, and we have consensus or agreement on both maps. So we definitely have some amount of rainfall to receive for tomorrow across the island. Even the total accumulated precipitation confirms this, because these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday. And it's not going to be a lot of rainfall spread out over the next 24 hours. More than likely, all of that rainfall will be across portions of eastern Jamaica in the morning, then spreading to central western Jamaica during the afternoon, just like what the previous maps showed. However, these maps are showing some rainfall totals up to 0.26 of an inch across portions of central and western Jamaica. The Euro is not so much, showing more of the rainfall across portions of maybe Kingston and St. Andrew. We shall see exactly what unfolds. Rainfall is definitely in the forecast for tomorrow, so ensure that you take your rain gear with you. And we're indeed grateful that we're getting some amount of rainfall, considering that May is our secondary rainy season, and we usually receive up to 213 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So especially considering that the maps, the icon, the climate forecast system, the CANSIPs have been showing a below average time period in terms of rainfall across portions of Jamaica. Hopefully that doesn't verify and we get the rain that we usually get during the month of May. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have some patches of clouds that brought some amount of rainfall to portions of the Windward Island today. We have a lot of cloud cover and rainfall across portions of Guatemala, Honduras, and portions of Belize. And with all of those clouds being streaked up toward the east-northeast or the northeast, we can see that it indeed moistened the atmosphere across portions of Cuba for today. So they indeed got in on some amount of afternoon convection. Taking a look at the northeastern Caribbean for today, yes, we had some amount of passing shower or two across those islands. So portions of, let's say, Guadeloupe, Dominica as usual, maybe Antigua and Barbuda got in on some of that rainfall. Even portions of western Puerto Rico got in on some amount of afternoon convection as well. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, we can see a lot of rainfall right there, scattered rainfall passing to the north and south of the island, especially the south of the island, heading its way into sections of, let's say, St. Lucia, sections of St. Vincent and Grenada as well. And some of those spots should be receiving more rainfall into tonight as well as tomorrow morning. Taking a look at a wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some amount of rainfall associated with those clouds that brought the afternoon convection across Cuba, the rainfall that Honduras and Guatemala are receiving as well. Not to mention the rainfall that we see affecting portions of the waters to the north of Tobago. We can see that as it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, majority of the Caribbean stretching all the way from the Gulf of Mexico, stretching all the way down into the Eastern Caribbean, should be receiving some above normal temperatures for tomorrow. So try to take necessary precautions so that you're not that drastically affected. Try to stay as hydrated as possible. Keep out of the sun as much as possible, and try to wear some lighter shades of colors. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Thursday, we can see that the most haze or the dusty-like conditions should be right there across portions of French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, portions of Trinidad and Tobago, maybe even sections of St. Vincent, Grenada, and Barbados getting in on some of that as well. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see the highest waves right there off the east coast of the United States as indicated by those reds, not to mention portions of the southern Caribbean, south of Jamaica to the north of Colombia. That's where we have some purple shades that represent at least 2 meter wave heights or more, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS, and that's due to the fact that the strongest wind will be right at those spots. Look at the waters to the east of the United States. Lots of strong winds represented by the yellows, gold, and red shadings that represent 25 to 40 or even 40 knots. Look to the waters to the far south of Jamaica, some yellows that indicate some strong winds, anywhere from 20 to 30 knots being experienced right there for tomorrow. And we see consensus or agreement on both maps, and when we have consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow, we can see that yes, from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday, we still have more rain to receive across portions of Cuba, portions of Hispaniola, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, sections of western Puerto Rico. We still have more rainfall to receive across portions of Dominica, sections of Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, sections of St. Vincent, Grenada, and maybe even Tobago getting in on some of that. And we see consensus on both maps, and we know that when we see consensus, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Taking a look at the southern portion of the basin, we can see Colombia, Panama, and even Costa Rica getting in on some of that rainfall as well. Taking a look at the western portion of the basin, we can see some spotty showers across portions of Mexico as well. Not to mention Belize and Guatemala getting in on some of that rainfall, even up to an inch of rainfall being expected as seen on the GFS models. So some isolated flash flooding may occur as well. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.